Hey guys, Sabri Suby here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about how to craft Instagram ads that just demand attention. Now, the very first thing to really think about when you're running ads on any platform is thinking about like the user and what they're going to be using that platform for, and like at what time of the day are they accessing it, and in what kind of state of mind are they in when they fire up their Instagram ad and they're looking for a bit of entertainment, so to speak. And you really want to start to think about, okay, this person might be on their lunch break or on their commute into the office, or they might be checking it before they get out of bed in the morning, or when they're on the toilet, or whatever it is. You want to be thinking about, okay, I'm going to have to basically get this person's attention when they're on a train and they're on the way into the office, for instance. And what is it that is going to allow me to do that? And the very first thing that most people do is when they start running ads on Instagram is they look at, the typical kind of grid on Instagram or the news feed as they're kind of scrolling down the Instagram feed, and they're like, okay, well, I need to basically craft an ad that is going to be completely different to everything that this user is seeing on this feed. So I need to really make it highly polished and have like, a lot of text on it and prices, and it needs to pop out. I really want the ad to pop. Like, that's what a lot of people think, right? Where, Instagram and Facebook, these are native advertising platforms, meaning that there is native content on there and your ad is going to be appearing in that content. So it needs to look native. So the very first thing that you really want to be thinking about is making sure that your ad does not look like an ad, right? Now, there might be a little voice in the back of your head that's saying, well, Sabri, then how is my ad going to get attention? Well, it's going to get attention by sliding under the radar and appearing to be organic content when it's really an ad. Because if you think about how people are in this day and age, like, we're all just trained to not look at ads. It's like a YouTube ad comes on, you press skip. A Facebook ad comes up in the newsfeed, and most people are stopping and scrolling. As soon as their brain registers that ad as an ad, they just compartmentalize it and they completely ignore it. Meaning that if you're trying to make your ad stick out, and people are going to know, okay, cool, this is an ad, and then you're already dead. Do you know what I mean? It's gone. Doesn't matter how good the ad is, how good the product or the landing page is, or the service is, you're not even going to be entering into a conversation that's taking place on that platform because you've been compartmentalized already as being an ad. So the very first rule is to never make your ad look like an ad. Now, so that means with your image, you want to just be using native looking images, right? Ideally shots that we're taking on an iPhone, like something that's just down and dirty. They're the ones that perform the best. And it's because they look native, they look real, right? If you're going to have all these extremely highly professional photos of yourself or of the product or of anything, right? That's not typically what people are used to looking at on Instagram, right? They're used to seeing people post pictures of their breakfast or their dog or their children, or a selfie of them in front of the Eiffel Tower. And typically they're all taken, on an iPhone or whatever phone that person is using. So that's the very first rule, is just making it look as native as possible. Now, that kind of squares away the imagery, right? Now, the other thing that you want to think about with the imagery is using something that is intriguing, like something that's like, whoa, that's like a bit of a pattern interrupt. I haven't really seen that. So at the same time as, you want it to look native, you also want it to be scroll stopping imagery that is kind of a bit of a pattern interrupt. And what you can see, up on the screen right now is, a few ads that really kind of display that pattern interrupt, where it kind of gets you questioning, where you see like a black band kind of covering the eyes. You're like, okay, whoa, what's going on? And then you stop, right? Because the very first job of the ad is to get somebody to stop, right? Most people think of it is they first start off, I need to make it look like an ad, it needs to pop, and then they try to sell you straight out the gate. Like, they're literally trying to sell you in the ad. But an ad is not meant to sell anybody, right? The ad is meant to get somebody to click through to a landing page or a website and then take the first action. So the second thing that you really want to think about is selling the click. That's the only thing that you care about, is selling the click. And the way that you do that is by using that imagery that makes people stop and have a lot of curiosity behind them. Now, when it comes to the copy and writing copy for Instagram ads, there's not a lot of tools at your disposal, because unlike Facebook ads, you don't have a headline, right? Like literally all you have on an Instagram ad is, 2 or 3 lines of copy and then a read more, right? So that first bit of copy, that first line is what we call the lead in. And when you think about writing copy, a simple way to write really good copy for Facebook and Instagram is using a formula called AIDA, right? Which is AIDA, and that stands for attention, interest, desire, and action, right? So they're basically the things that you really want to be looking at when you're crafting an ad. And the very first thing on that acronym is A for attention. You need to get people's attention, and the way that you do that is by loading your ads with as much curiosity as possible to get them to stop. And then that first line of copy is the lead in, and that's really where most people will come straight out the gate and just show their hand of cards and show you, I'm just trying to sell you some shit, right? I'm just trying to get you to do this. And that's the very worst way to go about it. The only thing that first line of copy is designed to do is to get somebody to read the next line of copy. It's like a slippery slope, right? And you want to grease that slope up as much as you can. And you want to ask questions, you want to have pattern interrupts, you want to dial up the intrigue and curiosity around the language that you're using. So someone sees this image that looks a little bit odd and they're like, okay, what's going on here? And their brain is just trying to compartmentalize it, but they can't, because it's bizarre. They don't know what's going on here because there's something really weird in this image or something that gets their attention. And then you have that first line of copy that comes in and it starts to tell a story, or it opens up with a crazy statistic, or it starts off mid-sentence and the person's like, their brain is just going crazy right now because they're just trying to go, okay, well, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on? And a really great example of this is if you've ever been in a social environment and somebody's just had a child and they're like, yeah, we just had a baby, or our baby's 3 months old. The very first question that someone is going to say is boy or a girl, right? Because their brain is trying to compartmentalize it. They just can't move forward without knowing that. They won't even ask you anything about the baby until they know the gender of the baby. And it's the same thing with advertising. If they know immediately that you're trying to sell them, they compartmentalize it as an ad, bang, they keep scrolling down their feed and you're gone, right? So you want to kind of keep them guessing and what's going on here. And the way that we do that is by using intriguing imagery, and that line of the copy, we just want to hook them in, right? We're casting that fishing line out, hook, line, and sinker to pull them in. And the way that we do that is stopping them with the image and then using that lead-in copy to start to help them slide down that slope. We don't want to show that full hand of cards. We want to keep on increasing the curiosity as we move them down the copy. Each line of copy has one job, and that is to get them to read the next line of copy, right? Now, once you've kind of gone through that, that's when you really want to start kind of split testing all the different types of imagery. Think of little bizarre things you can do to these images to make them a little bit more curiosity driven, or for people to not know what's going on. And that's why when you see native advertising, on the bottom of Forbes, for instance, or on yahoo.com, and you can see those little ads that appear down the bottom, and they're shocking ingredients from 43-year-old woman who lives in South Yarra will cure weight loss for good. And they use this weird image of a passion fruit flower or something crazy like that. Someone could look at that and go, that has absolutely nothing to do with that passion fruit flower. But that person who's crafted that ad knows well and true the whole job of the ad is to get people to click on it, right? And then come them through the landing page. And then when we're on the landing page or the product page or whatever it is, if you're trying to go for a lead or you're trying to go for a sale or a webinar registration, then the job of that landing page is to sell that registration and get them to opt in and get them to take that action that you want them to. And then the next job of whatever it is, if it's a webinar or a sales page or a checkout page, is to get them to pull the trigger and actually buy. And if you're doing lead generation, the whole goal of the ad is to get a click. The job of the landing page is to generate a lead, and then the sales call is where you're trying to get to that sale. And what I see as just an absolute fatal mistake that all businesses typically make is that they are trying to sell people off the ad. And that will never ever happen. So if it will never happen, then why try to do it in the first place? So that's kind of like, if you look at the attention, you're going to get their attention, then we're going to use that opening line of copy to really get their interest and like hook them in, get them reading the copy. And then it comes to like D, and building that desire. We're going to be talking to them in the copy about what are the problems that they're experiencing right now. And we're going to be building the desire by revealing that we are hinting that we have the solution to help them solve that problem. And then we are going to get them to take action by getting them to click. We want to load that click up with as much curiosity as possible, by using some very, very simple copy. Like, if you've been searching for this solution, or if you've been experiencing this, or if you're in this current situation XYZ, then you really want to go here and check this page out before it comes down, right? All I'm doing is just loading that in where there's a lot of curiosity that they can't help themselves, and they've got to click. And if you follow that AIDA formula for running Instagram ads and you use the little tips that I've given you, you'll see that your click-through rates go through the roof. And then, Facebook and Instagram's algorithm is going to be like, look, this is what we call crack content, right? This is so good, our users can't get enough of it. That's why they're clicking on it so much. Then they unlock the best inventory for you, and they start to give you ads that appear as the first ads in the news feed. And then you get more inventory, and then your ads go out to better buyers, and then you get better results. And it's like this cascading effect. It's like a flywheel that just feeds in itself, and it really allows you to be put into the absolute best position to go out there and just win. To win the inventory game, to win the attention war that we're all in, and get people to your pages and get them to take action with what it is that you're asking them to do. So there you have it. That is a very simple 4-step formula that you can use to go out there and start crushing it with Instagram ads. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you click the like button and subscribe. We're dropping a video on YouTube every other day. And if you've got any questions about any of the content that I covered in this video, just basically leave a comment with hashtag #HeySabri in the comment section. And every week we're also trying to go through all those questions and get them answered. So go ahead, click subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Mm-hmm.